Can people really heal from the pain of estrangement? If you're an estranged parent, I know this journey can seem like it's never going to end. You just think, I'll never get over this. There's no way. I love this child. This child has rejected me for whatever reasons, not to invalidate their reasons. I'm sure they're good reasons in their own heart, because you've got to have some serious demons in your life to reject a parent like this. And sometimes they need space to grapple with their own personal issues. But when you're on the parent side, and maybe you didn't get any explanation, a full explanation, or maybe you got an explanation that just seemed kind of hard to fathom, then it's a shock. And basically what you're dealing with, it's a grieving process. It is an ambiguous grieving process, because you're mourning someone who's still alive, but who doesn't want to be a part of your life. And although this is a really tough pill for parents to swallow, I know it was for me, I want to tell you that you can heal. You absolutely can heal. I've talked to over 100 parents deeply grappling with this issue, and I've seen all kinds of parents from all kinds of walks of life with all kinds of mindsets and backgrounds and situations. Estrangements are not all the same. They're very different. Every situation is entirely unique. You can't just look at one person's situation, consider it for 5 minutes and say, oh, it's this person's fault or that person's fault. It is very much a multifaceted breakdown of a relationship, and there can be so many factors. There can be abuse, there can be mental illness, there can be addictions, there can be ideologies, there can be so many things that play into each parent's individual estrangement, and each child's as well. In the beginning, there's shock, there's denial, there's just surprise, you don't believe it, you keep trying to reach out, you can't understand it. If they've said no contact and you reach out, you've already crossed a boundary that they've set, and they're very specific about their boundaries these days, and unforgiving if you cross them. But once you get through that phase, there are all these other phases, and I did a 6-part series on that. But you are basically dealing with grief. You are grieving the loss of this relationship that you cannot make them want to be with you. You cannot make them love you. You cannot make them do anything, because if you've done your job, they are adults living out in the world, supporting themselves, being their own person, and we just have to let them fly, let them go, let them be. Our job is done. It is tragic when they choose to cut you out of their life. You know, we have all of our own emotions, everything: disgust, shame, shock, fear, sadness, anger, resentment. All of these emotions can just be overwhelming at times, but you need to work through them, and you can work through them. And your child is probably working through their own set of emotions on their side. And for whatever reason, they need their space. And as parents, I think the best thing we can do is trust that they're doing the right thing for themselves. And honestly, as parents, what else do we want than for our kids to do what's right for themselves, be happy, make their own choices, and sometimes that doesn't include us. And so yes, we go back and we reflect and we think about what did we do wrong and what could we have done better, and you know, you sort of sift through the rubble of your life and just try to make sense of it all. And so that's a process. It's a process. It goes on for a while. There's some deep reflection that you go through, but you know, in the end, you can't beat yourself up forever. You know, yes, acknowledge what you did wrong. Yes, do better next time. All of those things, but ultimately you have to forgive yourself, and you have to forgive the child too. Because one of the resentments that we parents carry pretty closely through this process for a while is anger and resentment at the child for choosing to, you know, just dump us, basically. I have seen some parents who have been able to kind of go through their grieving process within a month, which is abnormally fast. This was a very special individual. And there are other parents who 30 years later are still distraught about the loss of their child, and there's everything in between. So at some point you're going through this and you hit a low point and you decide, I can't live like this anymore. It's affecting my health. It's affecting my remaining relationships. It's affecting my work. It can affect everything if you let it. And so it's really important to properly, work through the emotions and work through the issues and understand the larger things at play in estrangement in our world today. And the more you do this work, as the kids like to say, the better it's going to be for you in the long run. If you work through this grieving process, and if you do it completely, you will come out the other side and you will feel like, okay, I understand, I get it, and you can go on and you can live your life with joy. And I think the most important thing, if you want to succeed at getting through, I like to say healing is a spectrum. Maybe you're 5% there. You've gotten over the shock, but all the rest of it remains and it's a pile of mess. Or maybe you're on the other end where you're 95% healed, and yeah, sure, maybe something pops up on social media that somebody tells you about your child and something comes back and you have a day of, kind of revisiting the wound, so to speak. But for the most part, you're living your happy life. You're doing what you want in your golden years, and you're making the best of a bad situation. And that's really all we can do, is make the best of a bad situation. You've seen my journey on this channel. I started off with the original video and I was a train wreck. I was so distraught. And then as time has passed, I have done a lot of internal reflection, and sure, I take accountability for my part in whatever I think might have gone wrong with my daughter. Not 100% sure all the things because there's no contact, but there are some things, and yeah, for what I did, I totally get it. And that's all I can do. I'm not going to beat myself up or flagellate myself in front of the entire internet. All my commenters do it for me. But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. And part of the healing journey is accepting what is, facing the truth, no matter how harsh or ugly it is, and accepting responsibility for your part in it, and forgiving yourself, forgiving your child, forgiving anyone else who was a participant perhaps in the situation, wishing them well, blessing them, and just moving on with life. We're like leaves in the river of life, and sometimes we flow down the river with another leaf beside us for a while, but then they take another turn and we're on a different fork, and our paths may never cross again. And that's sad, but that is how life works. And I think the better we are at adapting to that, the healthier and happier we're going to be. So there's a lot of different ways that parents cope with the pain of estrangement. Some of them join Facebook groups, some of them read books, some of them go to therapy, some of them take courses. Some people find friends in their community who are going through the same thing and connect with those people. Some people find a lot of comfort in their church community. There is no right or wrong way to approach the coping of estrangement. Everybody does it differently. Everybody does it on their own time. You just have to work through it in the best way you know how. We've had a private community for about a year, a little over a year now, and it's just a beautiful small community. We like it that way. It's an oasis, honestly, of tranquility where you can pour your heart out in a safe space, and we all help each other work through our various issues because every single one of us has a unique set of circumstances that we're facing in the estrangement. And the other thing I want to let you know is that we've gone ahead and created a program to help parents go from heartbreak to healing if this kind of a structured environment works best for you.
We created this because so many parents reached out, heartbroken, frustrated, and feeling stuck. Many had tried therapy, books, and support groups with little relief, and some had even attempted professional reconciliation, only to find it pushed their kids further away. The reality? Reconciliation can't be forced, but in the meantime, you can focus on your own healing, and that's where we come in. Our Heartbreak to Healing program offers 55 self-paced lessons with exercises, weekly calls, and a supportive community. You'll learn how to release guilt, rediscover joy, and build a fulfilling life with my personal guidance as a mom who's been there and come out stronger. We've had a few parents go through already, and they say it's made a huge difference. So if you want help to heal, check out the link below.
If it's for you, great. If it's not, no worries. There are plenty of other resources out there. But my point is, you need to know that you can heal. I know if you're at the very beginning of this, or if you're in the really just super angry stage of it, that you may feel like you can never forgive them. How could they do this? And there's just a lot of righteous anger, or there's just a lot of depression or sadness. You know, I've had parents tell me that they're suicidal, and watching this channel, you know, made them think twice, which is amazing to hear, but also tragic to hear, because some parents go that far in their grief. And so the message here, the main message here is that I want you to know that you can heal. It is possible. It's within you. And whether you believe in, you know, God, the universe, or whatever spirituality you feel most aligned with, you just need to know that you can heal from this. You can get through it. This does not have to consume your whole life. You don't have to be angry. You don't have to be resentful. You don't have to be miserable all of the time. You don't have to be so depressed you don't want to get out of bed. Yes, are all those reactions valid? 100%. You're going to have these feelings. But the point is, you need to understand that they're temporary. These feelings are temporary, and if you just kind of take that perspective and you're able to step out of yourself and just realize, oh, this is the grieving process. When you're in the grieving process, these things tend to happen. Maybe not necessarily in a straight line. They're kind of more like this, in all honesty. But there have been so many parents, even in my own comment section, who have shared their stories of working through it, and they typically follow the same pattern of they get to a point where they accept it and they end up letting go with love. Letting go does not mean give up. It does not mean give up. In fact, most of the parents that I've spoken to that have been through that process, they let go with love, but their door is always open should their child ever decide they want to walk through it again, because that's how parents are. I mean, not all parents. I'm sure there are some parents who are not like this, but I would say the majority of parents, we have these children. We love these children. We love these children no matter what. Thick and thin, whether they're here or not, we love them, and we're going to love them forever. And they can't change that. And that's just, the door is open. The door is open if they want to come through, but if they don't, then that's fine too. The point is to get to a spot in your life where it's okay either way. It's okay if they come back. It's okay if they don't come back. It's okay. So, it's 2025. Make this your year to heal. You can make this choice. Make it your choice. In our community, that's our theme this year. We're going to make this our best year ever, no matter what our kids decide to do or not do. And as parents who raise these children with love and in good faith to the best of our abilities, we deserve it. It's our time. We can be happy. We can let go with love. Doors open, but we can let go with love. We can be happy, and we can pursue our dreams too. Just decide that you're going to do it, and you're going to take a step, whether it's reading a book, joining a Facebook group, meditating, prayer. You can just do it. if you choose to do it, and keep going. Keep going. Don't give up. And you got this. All right? You got this. 2025. Are you with me?